Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
The gang
Welcome to the
is
scrap recap. What's that? The gang?
the gang is back.
Yes. Gang is back together. I have power at my house, which is a very handy thing to have when you're making a podcast. But we still managed somehow to upload a recording last week, and your birthday song was the best song I've ever heard.
Yikes.
Did your ear stop bleeding yet?
Yeah,
Almost.
exactly. Yeah, or you're yeah, exactly. Have you healed up?
It was the love behind it that made it just perfect for me. So I was really, really grateful for all the love you guys showed me. And it's been a great week.
Nice.
Um, and I hope all of you are doing well this Remembrance Day weekend. And I guess you guys didn't get a long weekend, or did you?
No.
No.
No. So that's unfortunate, but we're glad you're here with us. And we can talk about Nature Week, another first in the tent. What'd you guys
Yeah,
think?
that was pretty cool. And I mean, Vincent's showing it right behind him. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is.
that's exactly what we experienced.
nature.
Vincent, you're on brand.
I'm
Yeah.
on brand.
That's impressive. Did you plan that?
No, I did not. I didn't even think of that. But leave it to
Almost yes.
leave it to Steve to figure it out for me.
And
Well
we're just,
played, my friend. Well played.
Yes.
if
Well,
they
it's
ever have a bedroom week, I'm good.
I love it. Well,
I'm good.
this year I found that the challenges and the things that they're asking the bakers to do, it's actually very fun.
Mhm.
And almost every week it's a fun challenge, and I'm
Mm.
kind of jealous, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
It's
mean, the nice thing
envious,
about
envious. I'm not jealous, I'm envious.
and the nice thing about having the themes is it then allows the show to choose what they're going to bake as opposed to it's pastry week, so they're going to make pastry.
mhm.
They can bring in components that they want by having a theme instead, which I think is fabulous. Then I mean, there hasn't been a bread week. I don't imagine there will be a bread week at this point, but they've brought focaccia in and they can bring bread into any bake they want when they make these themes, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fun to see the new sort of concept of outlining these weeks and having the broader themes so that, like you said, they can bring in, okay, well, we're going to do macarons and we're also going to do, what was the other thing they did? Well, a horrible origami entremet, but we're past that now.
That was
Mine's
last
done
week.
and dusted. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. But the types of things that they can bring in. Oh, we do a focaccia and then we're doing an entremet and then we're doing what the heck was the showstopper last week? Why am I blanking?
Last week
It
was
wasn't the origami, no? No,
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 that was the
the
second one.
showstopper
cartoon
last
cake.
week.
Cartoon
Yeah,
Cartoon
cake.
the
cake.
cartoon cake.
Right. Yeah. So, like you said, I'm just
Glad one of
repeating
us
what.
was paying attention.
Yeah, I know.
It was
Actually,
late.
can you take over, Vincent, please? Because
Yeah, no, it's
Don't
great.
give them that license. They're going to take over the whole show. You know that.
you're right.
It's
We're
too
aiming for
late. It's already happened.
it. She
I
doesn't even
love
know.
it. Stop it.
How you guys were plotting behind my back.
Well, the we had for our season, we had like celebration week, which was one of the first times they sort of like let it just sort of be open to whatever you think it's going to be as a celebratory thing. It just had to be for a reason, a celebratory reason, but you can make it for whatever that
Yeah.
is. And that was really nice. That was kind of one of the first times that people just let us just create.
Yeah.
And I found that this season, more often than not, they're letting people be creative and just do whatever they want to do within the brief, right?
Mhm.
Like even like, I noticed they didn't say it obviously uh in the show, but you sort of listening to what people are making is kind of like, well, the signature has to have two different kinds of fillings. It has to have, obviously a big macaron, and has probably best to be in a shape of some sort that's not just round, So it's good. It's good.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a nice switch up. It's
Mhm.
working.
It
Yes.
It,
is.
it
And
always
all
works though. I mean, can you guys recall any week that was like a wah 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 week? Like that wasn't up to expectation, or the Great
Oh, I
Canadian?
know Vincent's
Oh,
going to give you one.
okay.
No,
So
He's
you
going
know,
to take you back to season 6. And he's going to take you back to a butt cake.
the
yeah,
jelly cake one,
A
or
Hawaii
which
cake.
bundt cake? You didn't like the bundt cakes?
No, no, he didn't like the Hawaii cake.
Oh,
the
the
Hawaii
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 cakes.
Yeah.
cake. Yes. Which is
Yes.
kind of almost like a cartoon cake, really.
Mm,
Kind of. But he really seemed to enjoy the cartoon cakes last.
Yeah,
I did. I love the cartoon cake
yeah.
because I find that the kawaii cakes are one step behind the cartoon cakes. It's just not quite finished. The
Okay.
cartoon cakes, and the cartoon cakes don't have to be kawaii.
Yeah, they don't have to be cutesy.
Yeah, they don't have to have giant eyes that look like they're
Eyes.
about to cry, and little butts and silly little cheeks and a dumb little smile. Like I
That's how you really feel about kawaii, Vincent.
and we did a kawaii cake for our challenge as a bake along, like the season 5 bake alongs, right? So we did a kawaii type cake as well.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's not called kawaii.
Mushin.
What's it?
Mushin.
Mushin. Yes.
Oh,
So
poutine, that's
poutine.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
we did a poutine cake,
Yeah.
which is sort of like a kawaii cake but cuter.
But cuter.
So it went
Mine wasn't
all
cute
the
at the
way.
end.
Well, yours lasted 5 months on the table.
I just left it out there until it started. I think I left it out for I don't know how many months. I just left it on the table because I'm so proud of this thing. Finally, I just made a video of me throwing it in the garbage because it
Oh.
started to have an odor. So
That's the time where you do want to toss those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long does this last for? Until it stinks.
Yeah. If you want to know how far to push something, just ask me and I will tell you. I will push it that far.
And
Good
that
to
is
know.
why you and Chris get along so well. My husband, yes. All right, well, let's start with the signature and talk about those macaron critters.
Yes.
2 hours and 15 minutes to make some kind of fauna macaron. They needed to make 10 of them.
And in the rain, I noticed it was
Yes.
raining
Yes.
hard. which
After.
There
Yeah,
were
that's
points
right.
that they were doing it, it was raining, like in the background. You could see, and I was like, I wrote down rain because they were still making them in the rain. I said, oh, macarons in the
So
rain.
ironic,
He's
right?
not their friend.
So
Yeah.
ironic that it had been so hot.
I thought that Elora said, "Oh, I'm so glad that it's
Yes.
we're finished
Yeah.
before the rain started."
Yeah, someone said that for sure. That they mentioned the rain. I mean, it did definitely look
It did
like
rain.
a gloomy, rainy type of day. Maybe the rain didn't actually start until they had finished their bakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they finished.
Regardless, humidity was in the air. It's like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, humidity's not your friend, but I did see a lot of fans out drying them too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that probably helped.
Yes.
What
What was everyone's favorite?
oh, easy.
The
Come
llamas.
on.
Can you believe those
That was
llamas?
nuts. With
The
saddles.
llamas were
Those llamas,
insane.
llamas with saddles.
Yeah. And she
It
made
was
the saddles
insane.
separately. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
But
was
I
just
also thought Erica's were really clever.
they
And
were really cute.
she made
Yes.
like the little
It was
wafer
facts.
too for the antlers. Like
Yeah.
that was very, very clever. And I'm also going to give props to Rita for doing like the little vertical caterpillar.
Yeah.
because
That was a great
actually
idea.
That was very clever. I really
Mhm.
loved how she kind of took it to that next level.
Yeah,
And
so stacking the caterpillars, or sorry, the macarons in different sizes against each other so that they resembled a 3D caterpillar. That was
Now,
Exactly.
did she make a cookie for the leaf
don't know
underneath the
what that
caterpillar?
was. They didn't
Oh, I
really
didn't
talk
notice that.
about what
Yeah.
they were, because I noticed a lot of people had done, like Pamela did little bones and there were a
Buttercream
couple of leaves and things like that, but they didn't talk about what they were actually presented on.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, no, they didn't really talk about that. Okay, well let's start with Jen's llamas. So she made the most spectacularly detailed piped, like macaron piped llamas in 3 different colors, I believe. With actually she had 4 because she had black because she actually did the outlining of their faces, or did she do that after it was baked? Did she draw that on? I think she drew.
I don't remember.
That was
I don't-
after.
So
don't
yeah, it was
remember
after. I think you're right. So, but she had pink, she had blue, and she had white piped them out beautifully. That even like the snout on the llamas was so beautifully 3D. It was just gorgeous. So they were coconut flavored macarons with a tart lime and a spicy chocolate ganache for her fillings. And they went over very, very, very well.
Mhm.
Yes, they
They were
did.
adorable. There was no hiding anything. Like they
No,
just
they
looked
were just
stunning.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Flawless.
no idea how she got them to stay in
Yes.
that shape
Yeah.
without spreading.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Well,
thinking also. So
well, you
let's
just
ask the
don't.
macaron queen.
Yeah, so you just don't do the macaronage to the level where they would start spreading. So you
Yeah.
want a little bit of extra thickness in there so that they actually hold their shape and their design a little bit better.
Don't they
So
become hollow though?
no, you just have to dry them a lot longer, which makes it even that much more challenging when you only have 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't know what kind of macaron she made though, because obviously they're the three types. You could do a French meringue, a Swiss
Mhm.
meringue, or an Italian meringue.
Mhm.
I suspect she might have done an Italian meringue because those probably need the least amount of time for drying, but I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe she can let us know.
Yeah, we'll ask.
Weekend.
We'll ask her
They
for
didn't,
sure.
they didn't really show a lot of the that part of the macaron making, which
Mhm.
Yeah.
would be interesting to see which type of macaron they would have made.
Well, they had some people had some very, very stiff meringue, that's for sure.
Yes,
Mhm.
very
But
stiff.
beautiful, beautiful work. And I thought when I saw it, like Steve said in other episodes, it's like if this comes out even looking half as beautiful as the picture, it's going to be spectacular. And it was like square on,
They were.
beautiful.
They may have
Yeah.
been nicer than the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
I agree.
I can't believe she got that done
Yeah.
Yeah.
that way. It was
The
just incredible.
smoothness of the shell, the beautiful, like just like you said, how it stayed exactly as she piped it, the vibrance of the colors that she used. It just was absolutely stunning and gorgeous.
And that they
Um,
were all identical
yeah.
Mm.
with that kind of detail to have them identical and identical shape. Like identical everything
Yeah.
is just you're not made. I have trouble making identical round ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this
And
was like a really complex shape, and they looked like they were fluffy.
yeah,
Like they
they
Yes.
really
did.
looked fluffy.
And
Yeah.
when you think about it, like a round one, yeah, you have trouble finding two round ones to match. But this entire shape of the llama couldn't just be piped over and over again. It had to be piped in the mirror image so that
Right.
the bottoms would fit
Um,
on properly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the
just
bottoms were just a straight macaron, though they weren't piped to the same
she
level
just
of detail. So
she
it was
Oh,
just
just,
did
okay.
the shape.
yeah,
Okay,
so it was just a single-sided with all the detail.
that's
Okay,
logical.
well,
Yeah.
I'm not impressed anymore.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Well,
big detail.
but you know what? But
Screw that.
Let's move on,
Let's
please.
move on.
because I checked with all of them, none of the, and maybe that was part of the brief that the backside could just be a straight macaron because I don't believe I saw any of them that were a double-sided macaron.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which is good. We don't need to see the other side of a perfect, wonderful, beautiful llama
Oh,
macaron.
we
No,
usually display the best side,
we're gonna
which
bite their heads off
are
anyway.
cakes anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they said
when
there
I
was
do
in.
my panda macarons, I do a backside because
Mm.
I got just the tail on the backside, the little
That's
So
butt.
cute.
cute.
And do you have a heart on them?
Of course.
No,
Those are only for
yes.
cake.
You
No,
should.
those are reserved for cakes. I don't have time for that.
You don't have time to put a tail on your panda macarons, but no time
It's
to
just
add a little heart.
you
It's
can actually
cute to
just
have a
do,
little butt on the back.
yeah, but you could
Yeah.
actually just do two little dots and then just take a little toothpick through
Not
them.
even. You just do one dot and you take a toothpick and drag it. But
Oh
no,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could do it that way too. So
nope,
why
not
aren't you
doing it.
doing that?
No,
He
I'm
doesn't have
good.
time. Not interested. That's all good. All right. Well, they said, Bruno and Kyla said that they were stunning, incredible detail, a good use of spice in the chocolate ganache, and that the lime added a cooling aspect to it. So,
And they were just perfection. They
Yeah.
really, really were.
Yeah, I don't think you could make a nicer mac.
nope, nope.
Question
Yes.
for the Mac makers out there. Whenever I make Macs, the shells, I always find that when I try to add something extra, like coconut, for instance, I don't know how she flavored it with coconut, and I don't know how somebody else flavored it with pistachio. I don't know how somebody else flavored it with lime, but I would imagine the lime is just zest. But I find that the Macs cookies they don't like other stuff. They don't play well with other things. So I'm wondering how she got that coconut flavoring, if there actually was enough coconut flavoring to taste it.
Yeah.
Was it an extract or was it actually coconut flakes?
Good question. That's a
Well, so
great
my
question.
guess is you wouldn't, my guess anyways, you wouldn't, as I found out the hard way recently, putting an extract is usually oil. So you would not want to put that into your macaronage because your meringue disappears as soon as that oil touches, literally a drop of extract in that type of extract. But I have had success doing the same way instead of using almond flour, using pistachio flour or using, in this case, coconut. If you grind it up and then you sub out part of it, even as much as half or more, you just throw
Yeah.
that in and you're good to go. It doesn't have to be almond all the time.
It's
Yeah.
difficult because it has a different absorption level of
Yes.
absorption. So you'd have to be really calculated with how how much you're putting in.
Yeah.
But that was my first thought. But I don't know if I find that coconut flour actually adds that much actual coconut flavor.
But I,
to
instead of
it.
coconut flour, I would say you take shredded coconut and you just pulse it.
Grind
You
it up
grind it down to about the same um
with the almond
with
flour
the almond. Yeah, so you
and
get
the
it
icing
into a
sugar.
powder itself. Yeah.
Yeah. The other way you could do it actually, so those are all absolutely ways that you can impart extra flavors in there. You could, again, if she made an Italian meringue, where you would actually, part of it is a paste that you would do, and then you add your whipped meringue into your paste and do the macaronage in a couple of steps. You could do an emulsion in there because it's at a different stage. You're not putting it directly into your meringue. It's actually put in with your almond flour. So, and you'd
So
mix that
like a
up into a
tempering in a
paste.
way.
Pardon?
Like a tempering in a way.
Yeah, it'd almost be the same thing as a tempering, right? So you could probably use an emulsion in that stage because it's not like it's not affecting how you're whipping up your meringue at all.
Yeah.
But if you were doing it like so, and then there are certain things that you could actually do again, depending on your flavor. So if you're imparting like a tea or again, freeze-dried powders are really good. So you could get coconut in a freeze-dried powder,
True.
you get
Yeah.
lime in a freeze-dried powder. Those would be ways that you could actually certainly do that. And you can put those again into your almond flour icing sugar mixture quite easily and use that in all different types of macarons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But just the cookie itself, like macaron cookies themselves, I find that they're so sweet. It's so hard to impart any sort of flavor in them other than sweet anyway.
Yeah. Cristina
Well,
manages.
Yeah.
That's why I like espresso shells. Those are my favorite because you can get so much flavor in such a little bit of espresso powder, and and that bitterness cuts the sweet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But also it's how you do your fillings too. That's where I think most of the flavor comes from. Macaron, and then it's again balancing the sweet of the shell that you're doing because you can't get away from that. You need sugar in your shell.
Yeah.
So
100%.
End of story. Speaking of espresso shells,
Mm.
my personal favorite were Pamela's little kimchi macarons. Now, not kimchi. She didn't make macarons that look like kimchi. She made macarons that look like her dog, Kimchi, with those tiny little Swiss meringue, or Swiss meringue. Maybe were they Swiss meringue? She made buttercream bones to go with it. But I loved how she had piped everything out. It looked so beautiful. All her details were gorgeous. And the little things that she wanted to put on after they were baked, she ended up putting on before baking. And I think it turned out absolutely fantastic. It actually reminded me of Andre, in that he said his favorite type of bakes to do are the ones that you pull them out of the oven and they're done. You don't have to worry about cooling time. You don't have to worry about anything else. The decoration is the bake itself. And that was what Pamela did here with her beautiful little espresso shells with salted caramel and Swiss meringue. I mean,
I'm a sucker for that. That's sign me up for those any day.
Yeah, absolutely. And they said it tasted like a macchiato.
Yeah. And Kyla's exact words were, "This is a perfect macaron." I mean, who doesn't want to hear that from a judge?
No, I think Kyla and Pamela's coffee flavors are definitely a good match.
Pamela is definitely the coffee queen. Like everything that she's done with coffee
Yeah.
has been gold.
Well, you know what I say.
A cup of coffee solves everything.
What did you guys think of Pamela's little kimchis? They're so cute.
Adorable.
They're so
Yeah.
cute.
They were cute
So
for
cute.
sure. Very cute.
They were
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
And Pamela opened up a little bit and got a little bit vulnerable there, and that was a moment,
It was. I
definitely.
teared up. I was tearing up watching on the couch.
I
Same,
did too. I had to
same.
pause it and do a couple of hiccups because yeah, I wouldn't been able to hear anything else anybody else said. So
Yeah.
yeah, I applaud Pamela for being vulnerable there and being willing to talk about not being able to have children on such a national platform, international platform,
Mhm.
and how kimchi is her baby.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She could lavish all her love on him. It's
Hmm.
wonderful. Yeah. I love Pamela. I
Me
really
too.
love Pamela.
She's one of my faves.
Yes. And she's definitely continuing on her train of beautiful bakes, I think.
For sure.
Yes. All right. And Elora, lime macarons with a cream cheese and strawberry filling,
Hmm.
shape of butterflies that were hand painted.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Her typical Elora style.
And
Yes.
she didn't put pink in the bake, but her decorations had a little bit of pink. So, Vincent, are you wearing pink today in honor of Elora?
No,
But we can say that.
but I do love Elora.
She's lovely.
I loved the shape of her Macs. I think they were really butterfly-y.
Those
Um,
butterflies sure look like butterflies. They
yeah,
did.
I personally, I probably wouldn't have added so much gold dust.
Mhm.
I think it took away from the beauty of the Mac itself. I think a little bit of polarization would have been nice, and just and then hand painted. I think it was just a little bit distracting, but it
Yeah.
was definitely very her, and they were lovely.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely was her. They said they were baked properly. The color was vibrant. Everybody got such vibrant colors.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by that because every time I've tried to do, well, like Rita said about macarons, the history that she has with macarons is either, what did she say? It's either a happy story or it's compost. That's
Yes.
basically that's basically my story with macarons. But getting the color right, because you have to be so careful with how much extra liquid you're putting in. So depending on what kinds of color you're using, I've never been able to get such bright colors like that. I know you
I
know
ha
how to do it, Christina, but
I mean I was taught by our macaron queen of our season, Amanda,
Amanda.
and that is Master Elite powders.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And man, the colors for just such a little bit that you can get out of those things, and you just put it into your egg whites and let it sit for a little while.
Mhm.
And holy cow,
Color
you can get
develops.
serious colors.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you use like the Swiss meringue or Italian meringue where you're
Yeah.
actually heating up and you throw your
Mm.
colors in there and it really does intensify.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's a great
Yeah.
way of doing it. You could also use a lot of natural products as well, like a butterfly pea powder works brilliantly in Macs. Beet powder is beautiful. Black cocoa, if you wanted the dark black shells. I mean, there are a lot of natural things that you could use if you didn't want to use, more the artificial or, you know, lab
Yeah,
created colors.
lab created.
Lab created colors, which there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with doing those either.
Yeah.
No.
I was taught I took a lesson in when I was in France on making Macs, and they do it in such a way that you do your sugar and your almond flour, and then you put um, your powdered color into that. You mix that together, and then you add a little bit of egg white, not beaten, and you make that into a paste,
Mhm.
and then you do your separate egg white
Yep.
meringue, and then
Yeah.
you fold that into this, and you mix it all together. The only problem is that you don't really know how much color to put in until and also for those people who do it this way, it's like the it needs to be a little bit stronger color than you would want your final mac to be, because once you add the white egg whites or white meringue, it lightens. So,
Absolutely.
and that took a lot of trial and error,
Yeah.
but definitely doing it within everything, like mixing, like especially when you're making the meringue in the mixer, and seeing the color, at least you know how much color you're going to be getting. That's yeah. Anyway, everybody has a different way of doing it. I've tried doing it Amanda's way. I just can't. It doesn't work for me. Everybody else does it. It works beautifully. I'm just over here.
No, I think the way Cristina does it is the same as that. She makes a paste, right?
Yep, I do a paste with mine. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Amanda does Swiss.
Yeah.
That's how she taught me to do it, because I was just horrible with macarons until she saved my life. I've tried to do Italian. I swear. I've tried. Vincent has tried to help me. I've had other people try to help me. And the macaronage looks so beautiful, and I'm so excited to bake them. And then it's just, they come out like curved. They always come out like they're doing a wheelie. It doesn't matter what I do.
They look like they're doing a wheelie.
Yeah, because for my money, an Italian macaron has the smoothest shell. That's the nicest shell.
They do
But
have
mine are doing wheelies, and it's just not cool. So, okay, I'll take a little bumpier shell with my Swiss, and I'll call it a day.
I mean, you gotta decide which battles you want to fight, right? Pick
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they really
right.
liked Elora's flavors. So it was baked properly. Her cream cheese contrasted well with the strawberry jam, and the lime was a really good carrier to wrap it all together. So
Good flavors.
it sounded really good to me. I love the idea of like a cheesecake macaron.
Absolutely.
Yes, that does sound tasty.
Yes.
With the strawberry and the lime.
Oh, yes. Fresh and delicious and tart.
Yes,
Okay.
I love it.
Moving on to Erica, let's talk about her mousse.
I loved her mousse.
This was the one that I would want to eat all day long. Black sesame anytime. Love it. Yeah. And they look great. And I'm surprised that they didn't force her to make the wafer cookies.
Didn't force? Well, I thought that so I looked because Erica was talking about how they made wafer cookies to be the rack of the mooses, well, the antlers, the rack, whatever you want to call it. And I looked because I was like, did they make those wafer cookies or were they pre-made? And there was a waffle iron or wafer iron, whatever it is, sitting right there beside them on the table.
Yeah, I thought she
at the station. I do believe so.
Because Kyla actually asked or said, "Oh, you made wafer cookies,"
or said you had a second cookie or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So
you made a second cookie or something like that. So referencing that,
pretty sure
actually made.
Great. So that makes sense. Yeah, because I was like, they would never let us do that. But no, that's good.
Yeah.
And and to that point, she should have just cut them out with the cookie cutter like hot.
Yeah. That would have been.
Why would she wait for them to cool down before she cut them out, right? It would have been so much cleaner.
I don't know.
But they were gorgeous regardless.
Yes.
They were.
Maybe there wasn't time.
Magnificently baked.
Magnificently.
Like, you can't take it back. You said it.
It was great.
It's a hard word for me to say.
And never going to take that one back because they were magnificent.
Yeah.
They were really. Now, I was a little worried when she started doing her macaronage. It looked a little off, right?
Yeah.
Did it not look a little off?
Oh,
It looked like it was mixing properly.
When I saw that.
Yeah. It looked like it was like the chocolate wasn't mixing in with the other stuff, and it was just man, these are gonna
Yes. Just
really glossy and like almost
streaks of gloss. Yeah.
Yeah, and almost over macaronaged at when they panned into it. I'm like, so I'm thinking maybe that was the wafer cookie batter, maybe.
Oh yes.
Oh, that makes some sense.
It didn't look like macaron batter.
I agree with you.
So,
but you'll find out eventually.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, we will ask. Well, black sesame and then orange jelly, which just sounds really yummy. I love how they said it was a play on the peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
And that it was well balanced. So
all day long. I would eat that all day long.
And silly and cute. So all the things that Erica listed that could have potentially have gone wrong
And she listed all of them.
It's like ba-ba-da-ba,
Yes,
ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba,
And all the-
ba-ba-da-ba. I was like,
And all the
oh,
problems begin with the funny little French, as she said.
Yes,
And she ended up
exactly.
with her, as she said, the derpy moose.
yeah, that was really awesome. I loved it.
They were adorable. I loved those actually.
I loved it too.
Thought they were
Loved it.
clever. Yeah.
Update. I've received an answer on the coconut flavor.
Oh,
So Jen has just responded to me and said, I subbed out some almond flour for finely ground toasted coconut.
there
That
you
gave them
go.
a little bit of a furry texture too. So
Ding,
What I do.
ding,
I
yeah,
ding.
bake. I bake.
what do I do? What do I do?
Even.
I bake and I know stuff. Thank you, Jen, for sharing that with us. That's fantastic. Yeah, beautifully done. Very beautiful.
They were gorgeous.
And then we have Rita's vertical macarons in the shape of caterpillars, which we did discuss a little bit already, but they were pistachio flavored with lime curd and apparently a white chocolate ganache, although she said it was a pistachio ganache. So I'm going to say it's a pistachio white chocolate ganache.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe the macarons were pistachio, that maybe she subbed out some of the almond flour for pistachio flour.
Yeah, they did also say that they were pistachio
Yeah.
max. So lots of
They said
pistachio there.
this pistachio was weak, but the curd
Yes.
was
Whatever it was, there wasn't enough pistachio.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really
Pistachio's
beautiful
a tough
green
flavor
color.
sometimes.
Yes.
What was
Yeah,
that?
really.
Sorry?
Pistachio's a tough flavor sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I love
Even when you're
pistachio.
making like straight up pistachio paste,
Mhm.
it's like this
No.
is pistachio.
I mean, sometimes you got to drop like a drop of almond extract into it to make it
Mhm.
pistachio-y.
Yeah, just to bring out, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there was some breakage with the curd coming through. They really liked her unique way of lining up the macarons vertically
I thought
like
it was
that.
great.
I thought it was really clever.
It was effective. Yeah.
And she had to make 2 sets of macarons too, which again, wow, that ain't easy.
Okay,
Yeah.
and here's the other thing. Her oven must have been weirdly set
Ripping
for
hot.
you to actually burn the top
Yeah.
of your macarons.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you would actually even do that unless your oven was totally set incorrectly.
Or she
Yeah.
forgot about them, is the only thing I can think of.
Can we just not keep burning stuff? So she burned something.
No burning.
No
Maybe
more burning.
Set a timer.
Yes.
Set
Or
2
3 or
timers.
4, right, Vincent? As many
That's right.
timers as you can
I
set.
always have at least 3 timers going at some point.
Well, when I do macarons, I actually have 2 timers. I have one for like the quote unquote full amount and one for halfway through the bake because I check them at halfway point and then I usually like just turn my pans around just to make sure you get that even heat distribution. But yeah, I always have 2 timers for max.
I'm just wondering what the heck is flying around Vincent's house.
Oh my. Whatever it is, it might have teeth based on that.
We're having a
Oh, yeah.
full-on storm right now.
I
Oh,
see that.
Like
We
the
don't have a
windows
cloud
are
in the sky
rattling
here.
and the trees are bending and
Oh,
the water
yeah.
is hitting all of the
I
windows.
think Karma just went outside.
Luna just went out and she came back in.
Oh,
She was
okay.
just like, the hell with this.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
I'll let you know if I see someone flying by on a broom.
That's it. That's it.
Just Vincent sitting there and his eyes are like,
So if we have a blackout, you'll know why. There you go.
Oh no. Well,
it's
hopefully.
okay, we'll carry on. We'll take our pod back.
That's it. There you go.
Exactly.
Now,
Then
hold
it'll
on,
be 2
but
against 1.
before we assess, I mean, we have assessed them all, but did anyone notice Pamela's mixer?
Yes, she had the design on it. What the hell was
Yes.
that?
What the heck
Hey,
was that?
Somebody said something. So my friend who was visiting here from Alberta was here watching with me, and she said, "Do they bring their own mixers from home?" And I didn't know why she asked that because I was like, I guess I was taking a bite of some fancy dessert at the time that was on the screen. But she said, "Oh, but that one looked really fancy," and I was like, "Huh?" And so, what
Yeah.
was it?
Like,
Was there a
looked like
sticker?
bone? It looked like China.
Yeah.
Right. It
Like
had
a white with
the
the
royal blue designs on it, and it had a white back. It must. I'm guessing maybe we got some product placement. Maybe it's a new design line by Cuisinart, and that's why they put. But I was like, whoa, that's
Like
just. I
a
mean, every station has a different color. That was specifically unique. That
like
was
a
like
Delft blue type of look or what?
like it,
Yeah, it
picture
looked like
picture
bone China.
China. That
Oh.
is, you know, that that bone white, but within the royal blue filigree and designs on it. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
was
watch it
beautiful.
back and take a look. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I'm
It was
surprised
really cool.
nobody's been talking about that or that it hasn't come up
I
in my
just
feed.
did.
Well, besides you, who knows things.
I know things.
You know things.
You know things.
No, that's really interesting that my friend who never watches the show noticed that.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty hard. It was pretty hard to miss. It was like, wow, what's going on with her mixer? I thought the same thing. I thought, did she bring a KitchenAid mixer?
That would never fly.
I don't think
that
that's
wouldn't
allowed.
fly.
No, can you imagine trying to get away with that? You just sneak it in under your shirt. You're like, yeah, I got my 6-quart here.
That's it. Nothing to see here.
Right.
Nothing to look at. Yeah. What was the green seeping out of Rita's?
I'm guessing that might have been the
That'd be
lime
the lime curd, yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
curd, the lime
Yeah.
curd.
Yeah.
Because they
Because
said that the lime curd was great, but maybe it just was breaking. Oh, breakage of the curd. Okay. I
yeah,
wasn't really sure what they were
broke through
talking.
the dam.
Okay.
Mm.
It's a
All right.
macaron.
It's a
Yeah.
macaron.
Like she
Or
said.
as like she said, what it's so there was some breakage in the chrysalis, she
Yeah.
said.
That's right.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it.
So
She
her
never
caterpillar
stopped.
was becoming Elora's butterfly at that moment.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Well, it was really impressive that she had to that she did make 2 batches of the macaron shells. That
In
was
that time. Yeah.
in
And be
that
able to
time.
pull it off. Her
Mhm.
green was beautiful on her caterpillars too. It was really impressive, actually.
Mhm. When
Yeah.
I first saw when the first batch came out, they looked like they were white on top with green feet and then the burn on top. And I was like, oh, that color, that's not going to work very well, even without a burn. But then the
Yeah.
second batch came out and they were like, oh, and I was like, go Rita.
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
exactly.
with a lot of nervousness going into the macaron bake, I think the bakers slayed macaron, the critter
very
macaron
impressive.
challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely
For
agree.
sure.
Really well.
hmm
For sure.
All right. So then we move on to the technical bake, the mahencha.
Yeah. This sounds delish.
Have you ever heard of a mahencha before?
Forbidden dance, the mahencha.
Is
Oh,
that
are we gonna
is that
dance?
what it
Are we
is?
dancing again?
No.
Let's
I,
dance.
I
That
looked
was
it up right
fun.
away. I was like, I'm going to learn what this is before they go on so I know what they're doing.
I thought it meant snake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what I
not
thought.
it doesn't mean forbidden dance.
No.
That's the
But it could be. I'll
That
bet you
sounds
it could
much
be.
more interesting. Now I'm all in for doing another dance.
If we let this thing run 2 hours, I can give you a story about the mahencha. But we don't have that kind of time, so we'll stick to the baking.
You'll
Okay.
just tell us later in private. Sounds good. So they had 2 hours to do this technical bake, and it was basically they had to put their crepe pan over a bain-marie. They made a batter. They made these very thin pastry layers, almost like phyllo pastry, and then stacked that all up, made an almond paste to go in the middle, rolled that up into a tube, and then coiled it around like you're making one of those blankets from the 1970s or rugs from the 1970s.
Correct. Yeah.
And then put some decor on top. The butterfly was an odd piece of decor, but we'll get to that later. This is a technical that I will definitely do. It does not look anywhere near as frustrating or complex as last week's technical, and I'm very glad for it. Plus, I think it will taste really good.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at now, Vincent?
I was just thinking about when I was watching it. I was thinking, whew, I need to take a cold shower after this assembly. Because this assembly of this thing is like giving
And
me
there-
papers.
And there is the forbidden dance of the mahencha.
Whew, I need to take a cold shower. This is a very cool assembly.
That
Anyway.
snake is a cobra. Yes, wow. Yeah, it was somebody take over for me, please, before something I'll regret.
The filling for this sounded amazing with, how's that? The almond paste, the orange blossom, cinnamon, and lemon.
Yeah.
Aside from the orange blossom, it sounds wonderful. Actually, This one also reminded me a little bit of the, no, never mind. Go on. We'll talk about it later. It was
Well, I
actually
found that this is
Elora.
basically like it looked like a spanakopita, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That was flavored like a baklava.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
almost had like a baklava kind of look after it was all baked, you
Yeah,
know, with the crispiness and the glossiness and yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a huge fan of phyllo, and this isn't phyllo, but I'm not a huge fan of phyllo. I'm not a huge fan of baklava, but it did look kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it did look pretty cool. Elora's, I think, looked amazing when they showed the cross section of it. And then that probably didn't make you too comfortable there, Vincent. The
I'm
cross
sorry. What?
section of all the little circles where you could see when they cut across it, all the filling and yeah. That looked beautifully even. I think she did an excellent job with that. And yeah, they Kyla kept saying she needed more orange blossom water, and I was like, leave that stuff away. That's gross. It tastes
I
like
love orange
sunblock.
blossom.
No,
Yeah,
I
I love orange
despise it.
blossom. No,
I
we're
will
talking
use,
about Laura.
yeah, talk about Elora. Yeah, they said she needed more. But she had even layers and good control. Everything looked really good. The bake was great, but she didn't have any of the decorations on the top. Did we see anything throughout that technical as to why she didn't have any
I
Just
think
ran
she
out
decorations?
of
just ran
time.
out of time.
Ran out of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah,
make that butterfly or was the butterfly
they made the butterfly.
It's wafer
okay?
paper
Okay.
butterfly that
Yeah,
they
that
had
was
Somehow
sort
I
of like
missed that
cut.
also.
It's just
yeah.
more busy work.
Somebody made the comment that oh, it's a continuation of Arts and Crafts Week.
I think that
Okay.
was that Rita? I think who made that comment.
I'm not sure who it was.
My favorite line from Rita in this one was when she was making the filling and she looked into the mix into the food processor and said, "Yep, it's looking fairly pasty." And I thought, you've just described the British Bake Off.
This was a lot more like British Bake Off with that rain.
Yeah,
Jen had nice tight revolutions. It was well baked, well shaped, good flavor, but the filling lacked some cinnamon, but it was very crispy. Rita's was not coiled quite as tightly as it should have been. The coil didn't look really continuous. Had a good shine on it, but the bottom wasn't cooked, so that was unfortunate. Pamela looked like she was missing the outermost coil.
mhm.
What happened there?
She probably made the filling too thick, and then she didn't have
Oh,
enough
yeah, the filling.
to go around
Okay.
the bowl, as they say.
Okay, that makes sense. The color and the shine were good, but it wasn't quite cooked long enough. And then we got the dreaded word. Here, you can say it, Stephen.
It was gimme.
It was gimme. Yes, and she also needed some more orange blossom water. When Erica dropped
Yes.
theirs, I thought it was all over. Do you know, I actually literally screamed at the TV, "No, Erica can't go home!" And realized quite quickly that I didn't really have to worry about it. But
No.
I was a little bit stressed up by that. But by the time it made it to the gingham altar, it looked
Yeah, she was
pretty
able to kind of
pretty
like
well put back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the time must have been super tight this technical because people were literally throwing these things onto the
Yes.
plate
Yes.
at the end.
they
It was like
were-
parchment paper everywhere. And people were like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys on this, right? And because they made all the individual ones and then they kind of like linked them together. I'm wondering if you actually had taken all of your the
Layers.
Orca and lined them all up, put all your filling in the middle, and then kind of just all rolled it all in one roll and then coiled it. Would that have worked too?
it might have worked, but I think that it would have been very difficult to roll into one big coat because you have separate crepes, right? And to get from like, a
Yeah.
3-piece of pastry to roll evenly
Mm.
and then to coil it.
Yeah.
And besides that, that's probably not what the
Brief said, yeah.
brief
recipe says,
Yeah.
because you never know. Like you've never made this before. It's just like, well, who am I to start like doing something different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The recipes that I quickly perused when they announced what it was, it is a phyllo dough recipe. It's not these crepes. So my guess is when you actually make them, you've got a long sheet of phyllo, and that's what you would do. You would just lay your
Gotcha.
stuff out. You'd make one long log, and then
Oh,
you
okay.
coil it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they just wanted to mix it up a little bit by doing the bain marie with the crepe pan, which is
Yeah. Which
very
was kind of, I've never seen anything like that.
me
Yeah.
either.
Rushing your batter on,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was cool.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Try it.
really fascinating. Oh yeah, so they did have 2 hours for this. So yeah, a bit of a time crunch for sure. Um, yeah, Erica, back to Erica. There were some issues noted, but it held together. It had a really good crisp bake. Some parts were a little too thick, but good flavors. I thought Erica might actually come in first, despite having dropped it.
I wrote down, I always like to guess them before they
Yeah.
announce them,
Yep.
and I
Mhm.
had all of them right except for her and Jen. I wrote
Yep.
her down as number one,
Same
and I
Yeah.
had
here.
Jen
Yeah.
as number two, and I
Mhm.
think she doesn't drop it in the transfer, and she would have been first.
Number one.
Well, maybe not. I think that the issue was really that some parts were a little too thick, that it wasn't completely thin all the way around. Maybe
Could
because
be.
I mean,
I mean, they're
Jen
only
needed
giving us
more
part of the
flavor.
judging, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah,
We don't see it
that's
all.
true. You're right.
Well,
Um,
the only thing that Jen had against her was that the filling
lemon.
had a little bit of cinnamon, and that was it. Because her bake looked fantastic,
okay.
and
Yeah.
it was really well finished.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And which brings me to the point which, Elora, I love you, but how did Elora become third when she didn't finish?
But she didn't have any decoration.
Right?
Yeah.
I
She's
mean,
figured out the secret to the technical.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, let's
Well,
say
that's-
Pam, for instance, if she didn't finish, like if she left her thing in the oven a little longer and did not finish,
Mhm.
right? Like she would
Right.
have maybe had a better bake. I don't know. Like I think that if you don't finish,
Mhm.
you shouldn't
You should be last.
like or close to
Unless someone really has
unless
a
somebody
fail.
really
Yeah.
pooches it, right?
Yeah.
But she's done it. She's gotten away with these
3 times.
technicals so many a couple of times already,
3
right?
out of 5.
Yeah.
She's consistently done this and then
Yeah.
finished third pretty much every single time. She doesn't
Yeah.
finish a bake or misses something on the bake.
That's right. But I mean, hers looked great if it didn't have to have anything on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Right.
baked beautifully. It was nice and crispy. You can hear the crunch. It
Yep.
was even. So yeah, I mean, good, but
Yeah. So Rita was fifth. Pamela came in fourth. Elora was third, and then Erica came in second, and Jen came in first in the technical. Jen had a really good week this week.
Yes.
yeah.
This is Jen's week.
Wait till we talk about the showstopper.
Oh my
Wait
god.
till we talk about that showstopper.
Yes.
You know,
Holy
Jen might have even been able to get away with saying at the beginning of this week, "This is my week," and still actually would have done fantastic. The curse wouldn't have worked against her because everything that she did this week was just absolutely beautiful. So, I forgot to mention that Alan wasn't there for the first two
Day
challenges.
1. Yeah.
I had a little bit of a panic because of, if you guys are watching Australian at all, with Cal, one of the hosts there. She got sick halfway through the season and then ended up passing away shortly thereafter. And so just one of the episodes was her last episode, and then she was announced as being ill and didn't come back. And I allowed myself a very, like you said earlier, Christina and I were talking, that I go to the worst case scenario. I did not go to the worst case scenario, but it was a bit of
Sounds
a
like you
oh,
did.
no, I
She
didn't.
did.
I didn't, but I
Mentioning it
just,
right now, I'm
it
like,
was, it was just that mirroring a little bit, and that I was like, Alan's not there. But I didn't go to like, oh no, he's terminally ill. I just was like, oh, I miss Alan. But it made me think about Australian and how that reflected. But then he came back for the
Yes, he
showstopper.
did.
he was good. And we know he's okay because we've seen him
Yeah, we know he's okay.
recorded like a little while ago, right?
Yes, I wasn't worried about him. But it did make me really sad for everybody for that season of Australian Bake Off,
Mhm.
and just for Cal's family and everything. So I just wanted to take a moment for that. And I'm glad that Alan is back and everything's okay for him. So they had to do this shadow box.
What a challenge. I
Yeah.
loved it. And I
Yeah.
completely I want to do this.
Didn't you want to
Do
do it?
it.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to
It's
do it
just
in a tent. I don't want to do
it's
it at
all
home.
artsy fartsy. It's just this is Arts and Crafts Week again, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
thinking the same thing. This could easily have been the arts and crafts
Yeah.
showstopper last week.
Which
I
is
think it
what's
should have
great
been.
about the way they've done these themes, because just by saying it's the shadow box that has to be in nature
Yep.
or reflect nature, it fits into this one. But you could have
Yeah.
just said it's a shadow box and it could have gone in last week.
Yes.
And in this, you have to do cakes and cookies. Perfect. You know,
Mhm.
again, great way to work the themes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
It was
And
great.
wow, these did not disappoint either. They were
No.
beautiful, absolutely stunning creations across
Yeah.
the board.
Where they had 4 hours and 15 minutes to make their shadow box out of cake and cookies to get to the semifinals. Crazy that we're here already. I can't even
Yes.
Getting real, man. It's getting real.
It's
Well,
getting real.
semifinals is like that for our season. I felt the semifinals was like the most nervous I was ever
Mm.
because I knew everybody in the tent
Had the
was
chops.
insanely talented,
Mhm.
and you know Stephen Nan was just
Yeah.
he was on a like
Yeah.
a
Upswing.
rocket trajectory upward.
He
And I
was like my
thinking,
macarons. He was just going up.
yeah, he was just Stephen was incredible, and you know, sort of digressing here, we had the pleasure of trying Stephen's tart that he would have had to make for the finale,
Mm.
and I must have ate about half of that tart.
Yeah, you could get
Wow.
the gout. You could have gotten the gout with his tart.
I would have gotten the gout with his tart because we had to make a mousse tart. He
Mhm.
made a liver mousse tart. It was
Liver and cranberry.
so good.
In a million years, wouldn't think of doing something like that. Genius.
Yeah.
Savory.
Genius.
Oh.
Oh, it was a savory mousse tart. It was so good with a cranberry
brilliant.
jelly. Oh my God, it was good.
Wow.
And
Mm.
gosh,
Excuse
and I
me
was
while
so
I just
glad.
hop on a train on a plane to Regina.
Stephen is amazing. He's an amazing, amazing baker.
Yes. Wow.
But there's always one of those bakers, right? That maybe starts off a little bit quieter, maybe a little unassuming, maybe a little nervousness that they have to get over. And then you just see that rise. And that's been Erica for this season, I think.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
agree.
I think so too.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Erica is having so much fun.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
She's, I think, finally found her place in the tent. And, you know, you heard it last week when she said, almost like, hey, I deserve to be here. Now I'm going to have fun. I know I deserve to be here. I'm just going to have fun.
I'm not trying to prove
find-
anymore.
And
Not trying
find
to
the
prove that
joy.
I
So
belong.
yeah, so she's just going for it. And I love it. I love her confidence.
Mhm. And Pamela also said that this week. She's like, I'm finally realizing that I can bake,
Yeah,
you know? And
absolutely.
it's been lovely to see the confidence growing and the nerves just falling away. So with this showstopper, I mean, Jen doing a double-sided shadow box with the land and sea theme, standing up vertically,
Yeah.
with a pie, a pumpkin pecan pie, and then the whole frame made with these orange nutmeg brown sugar cookies. It was very ambitious. She said ahead of time that when she timed it at home, it was 6 hours that it took her
I
to
think she
get
was
it all done.
kidding. I hope
She
she was
might not have
kidding.
been because I've been there.
But
I
that's
don't
true.
think
I did
she
6.5 hour bakes. Yeah, that's true.
I don't think she was kidding because I did talk to her about it this morning and she said, well, I did have to leave a few elements out in order to make it into the time. But yeah, she did
What elements were left out?
but
I
then she
can't
said
imagine how much more
also
could
she
have
said,
added.
you know, in retrospect, it may not have shown up. So
Yeah.
because, you know, with the far away camera angle shot, whatever, like she's like, it worked perfectly the way that she did it. Everything was gorgeous. The angles, like how everything fit together on her frame, how she had the double-sided wafer paper that she, you know, did the background. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was
That was
gorgeous.
so
Well, and
impressive.
it was a true shadow box, right? Because
Yes.
it actually was vertical.
Yeah.
Because all the other shadow boxes were like, I don't know if all the other ones, but I know most of the other ones were like lying down.
Mhm.
But a true shadow box should be
Hanging
vertical.
on a wall.
And holy smokes, when they said that it was two-sided, I was just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And they turned it around. I was like, you got to be joking me with this right now.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Are
here's the thing. She probably could have won the challenge just doing the single
One
side
side.
of
Yeah.
the shadow box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so you know, Jen, you probably would have taken
Yeah.
it anyway because it was
Yeah.
masterfully done.
A
It
bit
was-
of a show off
I
there.
wrote
She made a
down,
bit of a show off.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote down stunning
Jumbled too,
exclamation
right?
mark, two-sided exclamation mark, Star Baker for sure,
Yeah.
exclamation mark.
Yeah. Did we all predict that Jen was going to be the star baker this week?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ran away with it this week.
I don't think there's, yeah.
There was no question.
I mean, it's unfortunate because on maybe another season, another time, Erica probably would have been up for Star Baker as well,
Yeah.
because I think she had an exceptional week
Mhm.
again this week.
Mhm.
Yeah, if not for the perfect bakes that Jen had. And brought.
Erica's been this close a couple of
Yeah.
times.
But let's give
There
a
was-
shout out to Erica's shadow box because
Oh.
that thing
I loved it.
just looked. It is not easy to make something look broken down and old and decrepit. And she like it was perfect. Like
Yeah.
the box itself, like Bruno said, where it was sort of broken at the right spots.
Yeah.
When she made that beautiful glass and then just very
I was like,
happily and
why
confidently
is she
smashed
smashing it?
I know,
Right?
and it was
But
such
it's
a
got to be. That's
beautiful
the idea,
glass.
right? It was
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
It was
with man hands, she could do that.
Yes,
man
the man hands was
hands,
great.
yeah. When Erica was talking about this, the flavor accommodation came to me in a dream. I had to rewind it a couple of times because they're saying, "Oh, okay, it's a strawberry basil lemonade cake." Goes to sleep thinking, "What flavors am I going to use?" Wake up going, "Lemonade strawberry." I was like, "What did they say?" With spicy black cocoa cookies, so you get that nice freshness and then the earthiness of the basil, and then you get the spicy black cocoa
I
cookies.
love that she likes spicy stuff when she bakes. That is, I want to eat her baked goods
Yeah.
Yes.
because spicy all the time, and she's not afraid of it, which
Yeah.
is great.
Nope. So the little insects, so it was an insectarium, made the insects out of fondant, put the little wings on there. That was beautiful. Oh, just
That was the only part that I would have said it would have been nice if that was not fondant.
non-fondant.
It was edible because
Like,
let's
even
face
if
it,
she made
fondant's
it
not
out of-
edible.
Like even if she made it out of like, let's say, cake pops,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair. That's
it would
totally
have,
fair.
it would have worked.
Hmm.
It's just the fondant. They look beautiful, of course, but fondant, yeah. Even if she did it on a marzipan, I would have been
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
more-
marzipan would have been perfect.
Right.
Leftover almond paste from the technical.
There you go.
Yeah, just hide some underneath before you leave.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know what? I could really use this for my insects tomorrow.
But they
there was
probably would have made her make the marzipan. They probably didn't make her make the fondant, but they probably would have made her make marzipan.
Yeah, and maybe
Which
it's
doesn't take that much time anyways, but whatever.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
fair. Yep.
maybe enough stuff to do. I
Yeah.
mean, when you've got isomalt and you've got cookies and you've got all those things you have to mold and shape but
And then
I
she
thought
put
it was
her box
beautiful.
together with caramel as well.
right.
Mhm.
That's just another element.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really liked the story. They loved the way the box looked. There was a great bake on the cookie and it had that nice little heat from the spice, a good bake on the cake, and the flavors spoke to the nature theme. So that tied in really well. Like you say, that Pamela always does.
Mhm.
It really worked well. Erica did a fantastic job on this shadow box.
Yeah.
We love the flavors. And then Pamela, zucchini cake.
Yes, which tied into her theme of doing the squash blossom field.
Yes.
And she's the only one who made the box out of cake.
Yes.
Yes. I kind of liked that she inverted it that way.
Yeah.
It didn't work out for her as well as we would have
No.
liked. But yeah, it was a great idea, I think, to make the actual frame out of the zucchini cake. And then those beautiful little brown butter cream cheese frosted cookies.
Mm.
There were pecan and sage sugar cookies with the cookies didn't have the brown butter cream cheese frosting. The cake did. And the beautiful decorating job on those squash blossoms. It looked beautiful from the top.
Yeah.
And I think the only problem with using that cake as a frame was that you didn't have that structure around the outside edge to make it look like a box.
It didn't look like a frame to me.
I think so. Do you think she might have run out of time? Because
Yeah, she looked like she was rushing.
she could have decorated the outside of the box to make it, or the outside of the cake to make it look like a box, right? And you have like lots of different, you could have done all sorts of things to kind of have maybe that wood look or things like that, right? With like impression paper on buttercream, or she could have used like chocolate bark even to kind of, you know what I mean? So there are a number of different things that she could have actually done to finish the box. Personally, I think she probably had a plan, but she just couldn't execute it because her bakes are usually super clean. They've got all the details figured. So I don't think that was the way she wanted that bake to have the final look.
Yeah.
It didn't look finished to her standards generally, for sure.
Exactly. You're right.
Exactly.
But who the hell are we to say?
We're just speculating.
It's one of those, like, you
That's
try
what we're
doing
here
this
to
in
do.
the Kent, right? It's like, it's a lot easier for us to armchair quarterback this, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. You guys are slightly more qualified.
Yeah, that's
I
why I'm
would say.
saying it, because it's like, screw you people. You don't know. You don't know me.
But I really do love how she tied it in, though, the squash or the squash blossom flowers out of cookies, and then she connected that with the actual flavor of the using the zucchini cake. And can we please have a moment for that brown butter cream cheese icing?
Yeah.
That's a favorite thing for sure. Those two favorite things put
Brilliant.
together. And they did comment on the frosting and how delicious it was. And unfortunately, the cake, even though the zucchini was evenly distributed, Stephen?
It was a little gimme.
Yeah.
Yes. And that can happen so easy with zucchini.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't have the time to press it, to get the brick and to press all the water out and put it in the towel and twist it and just leave it out.
It's a tough one for sure. But
zucchini cake is delicious.
Yeah, it's great. Good.
Just put some bacon on it, it'll be better.
It'll be fine. Just fine.
Who the hell ever thought that, to make a cake out of zucchini anyway?
Thank you, Vincent.
What is that?
Whoever thought to make a cake out of pumpkin
or carrots?
That too. Like you.
I agree.
You don't like carrot cake?
No, I want vegetables. I'll feed them.
Carrot cake's a little different. You don't have to like wring it out and press it. Like zucchini on its own, it's just like this watery mess.
It's an elevated cucumber. Come on.
Oh my God. Like, stop it, people.
A cucumber cake would be awful.
Yeah, well.
I don't know that is that even possible?
I don't care.
Possible, but why would you do that? I think it would be flavorless.
And that's exactly what I said.
That's a zucchini cake.
Zucchini cake.
We make zucchini. So I was just thinking about this, Cristina, because I love zucchini muffins. It's one of my mom's favorite things to make. Zucchini muffins, pumpkin muffins. I think that was her way of getting something into us, through an easy snack. But we love zucchini muffins, and I'm always talking about how delicious they are. And I was just thinking now, and I'm like, it's just the spices. That makes that
yes.
Good. Thing with pumpkin.
Yeah, exactly. Pumpkin spice is exactly that. It's spice. It's not the pumpkin.
Well, let's be honest here. Cake is like a regular cake. Really, it's everything that you add onto the cake that really makes it special. Like if you just did a regular yellow cake, there's nothing special about just plain yellow cake. It's what you add into it or add onto it afterwards that makes it special.
Okay, first of all, the best cake in the world is Duncan Hines yellow cake. We got to start there. We all know that. That's my birthday cake every year. So it's a special cake. It's a wonderful cake. It's God's cake. But we look at chocolate cake, you don't have to add anything because chocolate is the nectar. that it doesn't need anything else. You don't need to add stuff to it because it's chocolate. So it begins and ends with chocolate, except for yellow cake from the box.
I guess what I'm saying about all that is basically if your main ingredient, like whether it be pumpkin, whether it be zucchini, is not like the flavor profile of
Yeah.
what you're making.
Why are you using it?
Why are we making it? Like if you were
Because it
making
tied
like
into that theme.
black sesame seed cake, you put black sesame seed in it, paste in it, and it tastes of black sesame, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But zucchini has like really no flavor. I guess it's the moisture content.
Yeah,
But
it's the
not just
moisture.
use like the wet sponge.
Yeah. But in this case, it was like it tied into her theme. And it
Yeah.
was signature Pamela to do that, to have those connections between the outside of her cake and the inside of the cake, and also like the theme of the whole
week.
Nature.
Right?
I would venture to guess that the zucchini cake came first before the blossom cookies.
That's definitely a possibility.
That's
Christina.
plausible.
Just saying.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
plausible.
it very well could be the cake born of sort of like Lisa's zucchini muffins. This is a tried and true recipe that she loves. Now she's going to work it in, and then to Vincent's point, okay, now how do I tie it in? Well, I can make these blossom cookies.
Definitely a possibility.
Exactly. And I probably would have cheated out and just whipped out and did a carrot cake.
Which
Right?
Rita did. So Rita did a gluten-free
Oh, sorry.
carrot cake. No, but it was gluten-free, so she didn't wimp out of anything.
But why gluten free? I don't think we ever found out why gluten free. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you take a baseball bat and smack yourself in the shin? It's not necessary.
I make a great gluten-free carrot cake.
I'm sure it's delightful.
But
and
this one,
the box it came
unfortunately-
in too. But why would you do it if you don't have to?
Exactly.
Stop.
You're not wrong, Stephen. I had the exact same thought when I heard she was doing a gluten-free carrot cake. I'm like,
Why?
why?
My question was if maybe her daughter is gluten-free. And because she was doing kind of an ode to her daughter once again with the whole Whistler waterfall, because she was talking about the bobsled.
Okay.
Did she make gluten-free cookies?
No, I don't believe so. Mochiko,
Just saying. And she wasn't technically baking. I get it. If she was baking it for her daughter, absolutely. But she was baking it as part of a competition to get into the semifinals of the Canadian baking show. And gluten-free cakes, especially, are very tricky to master that texture.
Maybe she's like me and she thinks it works every time at home, and I can shock them and surprise them by saying this is my gluten-free carrot cake, and it's not gummy and it's not dry and it tastes really good, and it didn't work out in the tent.
Well, unless you are a gluten-free specialist like one of your guests was, I wouldn't be doing gluten-free. Sorry.
No.
It's too risky.
No, unless it was gluten-free week and you had to.
Yes, that's different. That's different. Like I make a wicked like gluten-free chocolate cake, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like why? I try not to do it if I don't have to.
Chocolate cake gluten-free is actually a little bit easier to do in a sense, right? Because I don't know, it's probably the science of what you would add into that actually makes it all right. Like, because usually do you use generally you would use a hot water. So maybe that softens the gluten free flour a little bit more. I don't know what the science is behind that. I should have paid attention more in high school.
Or to Katie when we had her on.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Sutherland. I should have paid attention to it wasn't. That would have been chemistry. That would have been.
He wasn't teaching you how to make a cake.
No, but the science part of it, right? And how everything works together and all the elements. And maybe I just didn't pay attention. So
it's okay. You don't need to. You just use gluten.
Chocolate cake is easier to make.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you.
Chocolate cake is easier to make gluten-free.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. The thing about the carrot cake is that it's not likely to be dry because of the fact that it's a carrot cake and it inherently has more moisture. So when you're making it gluten-free, then what you're usually running into is that you're going to add you add the gum to it, the xanthan gum or whatever you're putting in there, or it's already in the flour, and then you end up with a cake that actually has that kind of gummy texture to it. But maybe she pressed all the moisture out of her carrots like Pamela tried to do with her zucchini, because hers actually ended up being kind of dry, and
Yeah.
some
How do
texture.
you make a dry carrot cake? It's like
You make it
17 cups of
gluten-free.
oil.
As you use gluten-free flour.
Yeah.
It really also depends on the gluten-free flour that you're using,
That's
right?
true.
Mhm.
And
Right.
maybe it wasn't the one that she would have used to practice back home, right?
We-
Maybe she
by
could.
this point, the
Mhm.
bakers should know that that they specifically ask for some specific brands.
Yes.
By this point, they should know you're asking for specific brands if it's going to make that much of a difference for you.
Yeah. If I was doing a gluten-free cake in the tent, I would be bringing my own homemade.
Yeah, and I bring my own too.
Yeah.
And it would say on the package, Vincent's gluten-free flour.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What did you think of the fact that she had a pineapple ginger filling there, Christina? It's okay if it's not in the
filling.
cake.
Correct.
The filling
I am
and the
totally
filling.
okay with that because
Here,
it's a
here.
filling and not part of the actual cake batter.
Agreed. And it
Thank you.
sounded good. It sounded really good.
It did sound good.
Pineapple ginger. Ooh,
Mm,
yes.
yeah, really nice. And then she had graham wafer cookies. For
Mhm.
the beautifully flooded. I really liked her kind of was
Wow.
that an Art Deco style? What's that style with the just I don't know, it was very simplified and looked
And it was
beautiful.
beautiful, like
Yeah.
beautiful flood work.
It was beautiful. She has
Which
the
they
patience.
recognized.
She is so patient to be able to do those sugar cookies like that. And graham flour, actually, now that I think about it, graham flour, is that gluten-free? No.
No.
Okay.
No, you would have to you'd have to make it specifically gluten-free, like a different type of graham cracker in order to make it gluten-free.
Mm.
Yeah.
Why did I have here written down not a shadow box?
Because it wasn't.
Because it
Because
wasn't.
all her elements were on the outside of the
Yeah.
box.
Sorry, Rita.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
And
don't
the
know why
judges-
I don't remember it. I
The
just
judges
wrote
said
it
that too. It'd be more success. They were, kinder about it, saying that it would be more successful as a shadow box if everything was inside. But it didn't look like a shadow box. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it could have probably worked well, I guess. Yeah.
It could,
Could
yeah,
it work well?
it could have worked well as a vertical because it's a waterfall, right? So you
Yes.
just have the
Yes.
waterfall coming down and the whole thing standing up.
Yeah.
It really could have worked as a vertical.
Yeah.
And she
And then
did have
Vincent would
some
have been
problems
happy.
with yes, he would have been happy. He would have been happy about that part of it, maybe. Yeah, because her waterfall was actually kind of sticking out, her ice malt waterfall.
And when I saw her take the torch to it, I was thinking, oh my God,
No.
all that icing is melting off of the
Yeah.
steak.
Well,
And
you know
then the
what?
isomalt will get weak and just fall off.
or
Nope.
break. Yeah.
Whistler's had a tough winter season. So snow melt is a thing.
She recognized it though. She didn't go any further because she
Yeah,
recognized
Yeah,
that.
Good for her.
understood
So-
that.
So that wasn't as good as it could have been. Unfortunate for Rita. But I really was intrigued by Elora's cake, the malted milk honey cake with the
Mhm.
persimmon jam. I really want to try that. So
Me
she
too.
also,
Yeah.
that was beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love persimmon.
Yes.
I love malted milk.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
sounded delicious.
I think the
put that in a
whole
lot of my
combination.
bakes.
Yeah, the whole
Mhm.
combination sounded wonderfully delicious.
Yep. And the
And I
stuffed
think again,
saffron hedgehogs.
I think again she just ran out of time in this bake. Like I think every bake this week she ran out of time.
Yeah.
Because it was a little unfinished looking on the
Mhm.
outside. You know, it was a nice looking. It was a nice sounding bake.
What
And I think-
was her theme?
Into the woods.
It was into the woods.
Yeah.
Hedgehogs and
She had a snake. You couldn't
And a
really see the
mahencha?
snake.
Yeah,
What was the
and a
snake made
mahencha
out
in
of?
there.
Pardon?
what was the snake made out of?
I don't know. They didn't really
No,
say.
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
I just
But
know
you
she said
hardly
it took her a
saw the
long time to
snake.
make the scales.
Yeah, because it was, but
Right.
but it's so disappointing that she spent that much time and energy in it because we didn't actually really see the snake. You could just kind of see I don't know if it was like a cobra or something like that. You can kind of see the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
if
they
you're
Well, they
did
took a
again,
pretty
if
good
you're
shot
if,
at
the
the
snake.
they took a pretty good shot at the snake, but it was just I don't think they ate it.
No,
no,
no.
so it might have been fondant. I mean, again, I could go in a full different direction. You got the hedgehogs, you got the snake. Come on, have half a hedgehog in the snake's mouth. You have, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom right in
There
front of
you
you.
go.
Yeah,
That's
My
here it
man.
is.
terrifying.
I don't think
My
that's an
man.
Elora thing. That's definitely a Steven
I was
thing.
going to
Oh,
say
my man.
that is definitely off-brand when it comes to Elora. In
Yeah.
fact, I would think a snake would have been off-brand for
Yeah.
He's
Elora.
scared of
And then
snakes.
and then that hedgehog with that big bulgy eyes at it's halfway
Or a big
down.
bulge in the middle of its body, right?
Yeah, that's its brother that it ate
I
already.
love it.
Yes.
Steven,
God, people.
high five, buddy.
You guys are crazy.
Oh my God. It's a good thing you guys didn't have to do those giveaways. Jeez. That would have been
Taking each other
terrifying.
on.
It would have told a story, that's for sure.
That's
Mhm.
it.
Not a good one. Just saying.
Her cookies were beautiful and well baked. Her cake was delicious and rich, and the jam was lovely. It just looked a little bit unfinished. They did actually like that there were so many elements inside, because then when they looked inside, it really was the whole idea of a shadow box.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. She probably did run out of time because of the way it looked unfinished on the outside edge.
Right.
And then, did you predict who was going home?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a
Yes.
pretty easy one this week to figure out, unfortunately.
was.
Sadly.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately, Rita went home. Jen was Star Baker again this week, second week in a row. Congratulations to Jen. We are very saddened to lose Rita, but Rita
Yes.
was completely putting out a lot of Steve Levitt energy there, and saying, have fun. Remember, she essentially said, find the joy.
Yes.
Have
And her
fun.
last line, I hope they can have fun without me.
Not me.
I love that. Almost Regin-like.
Yes.
Yes,
Maybe an ode to Regin.
I admire you as much as you admire me.
So one question though, back to Jen.
Yes.
I know that we've already, basically capped this all off, but the background between the two sides, right,
Yes. Yeah.
was pecan pie.
No,
I was on the base.
yeah, so the background, I believe she said this is the background for both sides, so it's very important. So I believe that it was wafer paper that she painted on both sides.
Yes.
That was, and then at the bottom for her rock formation, etc., or ground formation, that was the pecan pie.
Okay, so
But
what was the she put paper on either side of something. What was that?
Probably
She
could
just put the
Is it a
paper.
cookie?
Or it was just paper back
I think
to
it was
back.
just the
Was it
paper
just
because
paper?
it was on both sides. That's what it
Yeah.
appeared to be.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Oh.
if she had a double-sided, it would
Yeah.
probably have been just the paper.
She could have taken the opportunity to shine some kind of light through it. That'd be cool. But then
I
again,
don't-
then
I-
you would see the design.
I don't
of
think
it.
she needed that.
Yeah, I think if we rewatch it, there was thickness to it.
I thought so too. I thought maybe
It
there
might
was
be a
a layer
cookie.
of
It might be a
tape in
cookie.
between.
I think it might have been a cookie.
Hmm.
And then she
She
put
would have had
paper
to
on
do
either
two.
side.
Maybe she did. Maybe she painted two different ones.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I think because one was sea and one was land. I'm not pretty sure. I think knowing her, it would have been like a land picture and a sea picture.
It was. Yeah,
So
definitely.
it must have been a cookie on either side. But anyway,
Well, we can ask her. We
yeah,
just
because it looked
won't answer in time
amazing.
for us to finish the podcast.
yes.
Oh, but what a spectacular week she had.
Mhm.
But she did. Yeah.
3 incredibly solid, beautiful bakes, creative, perfection,
Mhm.
all the details.
Mhm.
It was just detail-filled week
Yeah.
for her.
She
Yeah.
did a beautiful job.
And what a lovely person. Like even I was a bit like how I come from the same sort of feeling about winning Star Baker or winning the technical bake
Mm.
as she had, like the same mindset. It's like I never really celebrated winning Star Baker. I was happy inside,
Yeah, yeah.
but at the outside I was just kind of like, I can't celebrate this because I know the next person who is going to be announced is going to be going home, and
Yeah.
I love whoever this is.
Mhm.
And it's nice, but it's not. We'll celebrate when we win the damn thing.
Yeah.
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 You have that moment when they say your name as Star Baker, and it's just for a moment.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's
then
nice.
you're going to hear the bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
the
everybody
truth,
else is really happy for you, right?
Yeah.
Like all the other bakers are like, congratulations. Like, I'm so happy for you, Steve, right? I mean, we're all always happy for each other. But I think all of us were pretty okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, sucks to have whoever's name's going to be called out next, though.
Exactly. And even when you win, it's not only is it short-lived because someone's going home in a moment, but you know that you're star baker for that moment only.
Mhm.
Because your name could be the second name the following week. You know,
Yeah.
it's just that simple. You burn
Yeah.
something and it's over. And
Yeah.
especially now that there's going to be 4 people in there.
Oh my
I mean, there is
gosh.
almost nowhere to hide. Now there is nowhere to hide. With 4
Nowhere to
people,
hide.
there is absolutely nowhere to hide.
And
These
next,
4 bakers are insanely
they're
talented.
insanely
Right.
talented.
Oh my goodness. I'm so looking forward to the semifinal.
Okay, so next week, did you guys see that there was a Kek Lapis Sarawak cake?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Why are you laughing?
Vincent's getting a good laugh out of that one. That's for sure.
That, yeah. And it looked like a couple of people may have had some trouble with that one just based on the little bits that we saw.
And the
But
fact that they had to make it, you mean?
well, yeah, that's probably part of
It's
it.
like 2 hours maybe.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, it's going to be
Yeah.
hot in that tent.
I
I
was
can
gonna
tell you.
say, can't even do it in the winter.
Oh man, I'm waiting for the weather to like get really, really cold before I make it this year.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be hot in that tent. Everybody's going to like all of the camera guys are going to be
Yeah,
dying.
because every week you're getting deeper into the summer, so it's getting hot. If you're going to do that to week 1,
Yeah.
possibly the coolest week. No, we're going to do it week 7 on possibly the hottest week.
The good news is if they have anything with bread, it's probably gonna, proof faster.
Overproof.
Yeah, as long as you can
Yes.
control it,
Pour
though, you
down the
better.
side of your yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we were throwing bread into the
it's the
fridge.
fridge. Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not used to that at home.
Yeah.
You're not used to slowing down the rise.
You have to
You're trying to
adjust.
get
Yeah.
it to rise faster. And in
Mhm.
the tent, it's all about controlling the rise, which is near impossible in that tent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well
Wow.
as doing buttercream and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Can't
for
imagine.
us, we started packing our Cuisinarts with ice all around it
Yeah.
to make buttercream.
Yeah.
I
Because
was even
otherwise
I
it
was
was-
even throwing fridge butter in.
Yes,
Like
we were throwing in cold
start
butter.
it off. It was cold butter going in to cool down everything,
Yeah,
and then you can
Well-
start putting room temperature.
it's insane.
Challenge.
That
It's
is,
insane.
it is insane.
That's
Yeah.
a lot. Well, it's going to be a challenge. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to doing these bakes this week. And I, once again, am so grateful that the Fabulous Baker Boys have not taken over the podcast, but have come to join us.
Working
and
on
give
it.
I don't know. I don't know if you really want this job, man. Not that exciting. We just get to talk to all these lovely people and geek out over baking like all the time. So that's the
fun.
best part of it. But
Well, you guys are doing an incredible job, and congratulations on this podcast,
Yeah,
honestly. Because, just starting it is an achievement. But to run with it the way you have, kudos to you both. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
thank you.
It's
Aw,
really it's a
sweet.
pleasure as actual fans is the best way to describe it. Listening to it, but then to be able to be part of a small part of it is a huge honor and just fabulous. I mean, you're pros. Like you hit the ground running from day one.
Oh,
Aw, you guys are
thank you
shucks.
both so much.
So sweet.
Did we
of you
butter
guys
them
to
up
say
enough? So you think that they're calm
Yeah,
and
no, they have
they
no
won't see you
idea.
coming?
They have no idea.
that. Whoa. Whoa. Wait a minute, Mr. Lovett.
Oh, man. And on that note, we're going to quickly end this and take wrest control back from these boys here.
Or it goes sideways.
I'm kidding.
What's next
Like a
week?
cake on a hot day without dowels.
What's next week?
Next week, was it Celebration Week?
Celebration week.
I heard just semifinal. I didn't hear a theme.
Yeah, I don't know if they had a theme. I was kind of wondering if that was what the theme was, but I didn't really hear it.
Doesn't sound like it's bread week. It doesn't sound like they're having, unless are they doing bread week? They wouldn't do bread
Usually
week.
this late they don't. It's just they call it semifinal and then they make things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the finale is just they make things. So I think we're done with like specific
Themes.
disciplines. So
Okay.
they'll just make a theme. Because ours was what we had. It was Throwback Week, right? We did vol-au-vents
Mm, that's
and what
right.
was our
What was it?
We
and
did
then
we did
and
that whole like tray of
oh
different
yeah, we with petitfours.
metaphor.
Yes.
Metaphors.
Oh, that was a nightmare. Anyway.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
You were
please.
right behind me. You were just fine. I had the roof leaking all the way. I was sliding, almost killed myself.
Seriously?
Yes. Oh yes. It was raining and it was
Oh.
dripping right. I had to have a bucket.
Yeah. We were
Wow.
all
Why didn't you go to a
I
And
was
different
yelling
Vincent
station?
inside.
made food for me. He made food for me and Alan ate it.
It was good too.
I heard. That's the rumor.
Oh my.
Wow.
It's like,
Alan,
So why
oops.
did you not? So if you were having those issues in the station you were at, because that was you would have been down to 4 bakers, could you not go to a different station?
Nope, because when there's 4 bakers, there's 6 stations. The
Mhm.
back 2 are for everyone to use for cooling and stuff like that. You just work around it. That's you just move slower. You don't take turns, otherwise you're going to wind up on your derriere, and you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And plus,
Because
I
I
had
had
Vince
to I
behind
had to
me. He was
yell.
cracking jokes. He was loose as a goose. He was having a grand old time.
Well, I was
What
just
else could he
yelling
do?
just like water, water, there's water, water.
And then
Because
you were singing.
it was all coming from underneath the for me, like he had a leak above him, but I had water coming in
Coming
towards
through the
me,
side. Yeah.
towards the electrical like wiring, and I'm thinking, I'm going to die. Water.
I was gonna say that's not that's totally safe, right?
That's a tent. That's a tent. I can just see it. Vincent, water, water, water.
Water, water.
And Steve, he's got, is carrying these things. He's like, I'm staying in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. Doing the little dance. Yeah.
Those are the things when people ask me, is it really a tent? Yeah, it's really a tent.
Really a tent.
That's another equalizer of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Well, we're going to go. And you know what? I'm so excited to watch episode 2 of the Holiday Baking Championship, starring our friend Stephen Levitt.
I don't know if it's starring Stephen Levitt.
To
but
us, it is.
Absolutely, it is.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
You were
I have
awesome.
Food Network.
You have Food Network.
It came on. It's on my TV for some reason. I think maybe they're doing a free trial or something.
Perfect timing.
I
It's
might
a
see-
Christmas
Great timing.
miracle.
It's a miracle.
A
Yes.
holiday
I
miracle.
might get to see this week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely
you
should.
were just such a joy to watch on that show.
Yes.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So everybody make sure that you check it out. It by the time this airs, the second episode will already have aired, but you can still find it.
So let's hope I make it past this episode then by the time you're listening to it. Or we might be talking next week about, well, you did good, kid.
You did good.
And so give yourself
You know
a plug, Steve. When is it on and what time and what station?
It's on every Monday night at 8 o'clock on the Food Network. You can stream it on Stack TV or the Global TV app. And last week's episode was put up on YouTube by the Food Network, was put on YouTube on the Thursday.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's every Thursday. I guess we'll find out this Thursday. I don't know a whole lot. I just know Mondays at 8 on the Food Network.
Perfect. And you would be able to watch it on the Global TV app the next day.
Yeah.
I believe.
Nice.
And 8 o'clock Eastern time, but it also, if anybody's on the West Coast, you can actually watch it both at 5 p.m. Pacific time as well as 8 p.m. They re-show it. They rewatch
Yes,
it
because we get it again later on tonight.
at
the
11.
second time,
Fantastic. So you can watch it live on the Global TV app in Canada, or you can watch it the next day. Having
Yes.
been.
And because it's American, tonight's theme is Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is coming up.
That's
Right.
right.
Yes.
Right. Very
Well, I
excited.
look forward
I'll
to
be
it.
judged by children tonight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
fun.
this would have been Mom's Turkey Week.
They're bringing well they're bringing 2 kids from Kids Baking Championship on according
Oh.
to the preview that I was watching yesterday.
Yes. that you
They'll be
posted.
they'll be part of the judging crew.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Fabulous.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Being here. Anytime. We love you guys, and we're really, really grateful that you're here and part of our group. Mwah.
Yeah, we really
Happy
are.
baking, everybody.
Happy
Happy
baking.
baking.